Welcome back. Make yourself at home, sit down and get comfortable. We're going to make our website responsive, and so I guess we should know what responsive means exactly. Right now, if we look at the state of our website, and we'll go out to a web browser, I'm going to look at it in Chrome. If I scale the window size, it stays pretty much static, nothing moves. So that's going to be problematic if I have a phone, since all my content will be over here. So there's a lot of ways to make your website dynamic and responsive, but this is just one of those ways. So I'll show you how easy it is. I'm going to click on the navigation bar to start with, make sure that I have it activated, and down in my properties panel I'm going to take the distance from the left. So here's distance from the left, distance from the top of the page, the width of the object and the height of the object. I'm going to make my distance from the left 5% and hit enter. Oh yeah, 5%. And I will do 90% for the width. That leaves 5% left over for the right hand side of the screen. So already you're thinking, well, this is too easy. This can't be the way it's done. Well, I'm here to tell you. We're going to come over here now and use the section property, and we're going to change this to 35%, and the width of the object I want to stay at about 60%. Okay? And look at that. Is that not wonderful? Everything I do percent-wise here, I want it to add up to 100, okay, to give myself some margin on the right-hand side. So this guy, I'm thinking 5% from the edge would be good, and that's all. This guy, 6%, because he's kind of tucked up against the side here where this one has a little padding, so it won't be exactly right, but I think this will work. 6% and enter. Okay, the only other thing I want to happen now is my background also to move, because now when I scale, the background object stays put. And I don't want to see this repeating background also if my content runs long. So the way to do that is I'm going to go to my, my body rule, where my background has been placed here. There's my background image, and where it says background attachment, I'm going to choose fixed. So the background will stay fixed and the content will roll over it, so to speak, and I'll say OK to that. The second thing I need to do is not found in that dialog box, so I'm going to come down here and add a property, and this property is going to be background size. So either I can type background size or I can look for it in here in this rather large list. So let's see if I can find it real quick. Background size, there we are. And then I get this little fly out arrow, and I'm going to choose cover. So background size cover. I'm going to do a save all. Oops, I'm going to try save all, and then let's take a look at it here out Chrome again. So now we should notice a few differences. My background is scaling with the size of the window, and everything's working until I get here where I start cutting my headline off. And now my at phone size, I can see that this is getting much too narrow. So really what I want to do is create a kind of a rule that says if the device the user is using is less than 750 pixels, which is trouble, I want to add some more CSS rules. So I'll have a separate style sheet for that mobile device. So here at the bottom, I can see that I've got some little previews. I'm going to go to live here, and this is supposed to be a standard size screen, 1000 pixels wide, a tablet size, 768 wide, and that doesn't look too bad on there. And then I have the phone size. This is where the trouble begins. So if I look at my rulers, which I can't see right here, here are my rulers, my trouble starts to begin just after 800, so about 750 is what I'm thinking. So here's what we do. We add a new chunk of script called a media query. And a media query just basically goes out. Oh, before we do that, let's do this. Let's make a new folder. We need to keep all of our folders neat over here. I'm going to be adding a new CSS. I have a CSS here. I'm going to extract the CSS out of my document so I can start splitting my pages up. So I really need to create a CSS folder here. So here, I need to click on this first, I think. I can make a new folder, and I'm simply going to call it CSS. Okay, and now please do this inside of Dreamweaver in the Files panel. If you do this outside, if I go out to my Sites folder and I do this out there, then all these links are going to be broken. But see what happens when I do it in here. If I move this document inside this folder, Dreamweaver is going to ask me if I want to update the following files. And I'm going to say yes, please update those following files. And now everything is still linked and pointing the way it should point. Okay? So, anyway, that file being made, we're going to go to Modify, and we are going to add a media query at this point. So, Media Queries. This dialog box is a little tricky, so pay attention. We want to click on this document. We want to force devices to report actual width. We want to do a plus here to add a new query. You can make as many as you want. In this case, we're going to call it mobile. Okay. I want it to report anything from 0 to a maximum width of 750 pixels. I do not want to use the existing file, but I want to create a new file. And now, this is kind of the tricky part. I'm going to come out here to this little folder and tell it where that new file is going to be saved and when it's going to be named. I want to name it mobile, CSS. I want it to go in my CSS folder, and so I'll say save. Now I'm back to this dialog box again, and I'm going to say OK. So here's what happened. It added mobile CSS here. Yes, we're seeing that. And we also have added it up here. So if I want to look at it, there's not much really in it. But in the code, it's popped in this little thing right here that says, in my CSS folder, there is a new CSS, and I want you to use it when the maximum screen width is below 750. Okay? So, that being said, let's move forward. First of all, since we have our CSS folder, let's take all this stuff, all of this code, all these rules, and we're going to move them into an external style sheet. Okay? All of this. And the way we do that is not over here, although we could, I guess. But we're going to come over here, and let me move this down. And I'm going to move it way down. Everything that's under style, I'm going to select this, shift select it all the way down to there. I'm right clicking or control clicking. I could go out here, but that flyout menu ends up outside my video window. So I'm going to right click on this, and I'm going to say move CSS Rules. I want it to move it to a new style sheet, right? And I'm going to say OK. Now it's going to say, where do you want it? I want it in this CSS folder, so that's good. And we'll call this one Bruce.css. Okay? And then I'm going to hit save, which is down dar. Now, it took all of that out. It used to be between here and here, and it's gone now. And it replaced it with this, go style this page with Bruce CSS. Okay? No problem. If we add more style sheets that are just specific to this page, they'll end up in between here and here. Okay, let's see. I actually think that I want to have this link come after. I don't know if that's that important or not, but I'm going to cut this from here. This is the one that's the mobile one, right? And I am going to cut it from there, and I'm going to put it after the Bruce one. Okay, make myself some space and put it in here. It just makes more sense to me that way. I don't know if it's necessary, but hey, there you go. Let's take a look at our page and make sure nothing fell apart. Design. It's all still here. Oh, wonderful. Okay, so let's do some fixes here. Let's go I guess we could leave that on here. What we're going to do is say, basically, when we get down to this size, I want a couple of changes to occur. All right? And one of those changes is I want to change the section so it goes all the way across to here. Okay, so let's do that first. I could go into the Bruce CSS and I could say find that the code for the section and copy and paste it into the mobile CSS and then change what I needed to change about it. But really all I'm doing is I'm going to be changing the width and the percentage from the right. Okay, so well, I guess we'll do it this way. We'll copy this just to make it simpler, I suppose. So I'm in my Bruce CSS external style sheet now, and I'm copying this section rule. So Command C or edit copy, and then I'm going to go over here and then make some space and paste it right in. So all I'm changing in this rule is I want that box now to be 5% from the left and 90% wide. Okay? These other rules, since I didn't use them and they're not changing, are still going to be governed by the ones in Bruce. The ones I leave in here are the ones that are going to override the ones in Bruce and change them to this new format. Okay? I know it sounds a little confusing. So basically, it's going to look at what I have here and or look at what it has in Bruce, style that first, but when it gets down below 750, it's going to come in here and execute this. So let's see if that works. I'm going to do a save all, and we'll go check it out in a web browser, Google Chrome again. And as I get smaller and smaller and smaller, that box should eventually pop over there. Yay! Much nicer, I think. Okay, and that works for a phone much better than having it all squished up in the right-hand side. But I can see I've had this cut off now, so I need to move that down too. So the next thing I'm going to do is come in here, and I want to make another rule. And what's not in there? I'm going to come over here, and I am going to I'm in my mobile CSS, which has a section, which is one section now. I'm going to make a new rule that's going to control the header, because remember, this is in the header box, right? So it is a tag of header. And I'll say OK. And that tag for header is, all I'm going to do is change the width to 450. So it will be executed in here. Oops. What happened to my header rule? It's gone. Where did you go? Oh, there it is. Sorry, box. The width is going to be a 450. Okay? And we'll say OK to that. And you can see it pushed this over this direction. It's now inside my, it's too far away from that line, and it's inside here. So I want to add an H1 rule to bring these things closer together, because that's governed by H1. So one more rule here. Tag, and that'll be an H1. And I'll say OK. And what I want to do for that is make the line height tighter. So my line height is going to be 45 pixels. And I'll say OK. And you can see how that tightens that up. Now I just need to move this section down. So back to my section. And I can go to Position and Placement from top. And we'll change that to 250. And say OK to that. And that kind of moves it out of the way. So quickly, I'm going to save all, go take a look out here in Google, and now see how that pops over when it gets smaller? Everything stays on the screen. Wow, I'm impressed, and I hope you were too. So I'll see you next time.